So today we got a brand new title update for Modern Warfare 3 and Warzone. No prior mention of it, it was kind of a surprise update, but honestly we probably could have inferred that one was coming sooner rather than later. But we saw some really important changes to Warzone and Modern Warfare 3 respectively with this update, and today we're breaking down what you need to know about both games' changes. As we go along, drop your thoughts, drop a like if you enjoy the video or find it at all insightful, and subscribe if you're new for more Modern Warfare 3, Warzone, and other FPS game coverage here on the channel. Finally, check out my friends over at Gamer Advantage for a currently active 35% off discount with code ESPRESSO for the best blue light glasses on the market. Great stocking stuff for gifts here for the holidays. But anyways, let's jump into what changed. So first and foremost, there's a couple of things that are like universal across both Warzone and Modern Warfare 3. You have the adjustment to the Speedway V5 short barrel attachment for the Ram 7. That can now be equipped in the Gunsmith, whereas before it could not. There's improved impact detonation to prevent inflicting more explosive damage to players than intended on the Breacher drone. You have the Crimson and Carbon Fate laser attachment skin no longer appearing as default skins when equipped on shotguns, and a couple other smaller things like that kind of stuff. But jumping into Warzone and Battle Royale here, firstly, Strongholds, a black site key will now only be rewarded for the first time a stronghold is completed, and subsequent captures by other squads afterwards will now no longer reward a key. That was something that is just putting it in line with what we saw with Al Mazrah, and was a sort of bug that came out of this most recent introduction. Resurgence, we have a few changes where the redeploy mechanic will now be disabled after the end of Circle 3, and public events have been disabled in Circles 1 and 2. So changing slightly the gameplay loop here of that kind of stuff, but the big things that I'm sure a lot of people are looking forward to is weapon tuning and then audio. So for weapon tuning, we actually saw a handful of weapons here adjusted. It's probably going to shake up the meta, at least on paper, which is definitely nice because there are a couple of weapons here that are definitely way more powerful than they should have been. Firstly, the assault rifles, the burst weapons got adjusted, where the DG56 or DG58, I think it is in Modern Warfare 3, for some reason it's differently named. That has a max damage reduction down to 32, which was down from 40. So a hefty nerf there. Same thing with the FR556, another 8 damage reduction down to 35, down from 43. The BAS-B saw a reduction in the max damage from 39 down to 35, and a minimum damage reduction down from 27 down to 25. The handguns of the Core 45 had a reduction in the Akimbo max damage, bringing it down from 45 down to 30, and the Renetti got a healthy nerf as well, where the max damage was reduced down to 22, down from 33, with a headshot multiplier reduction to 1.2, down from 1.4. Now the big ones are the marksman rifles, including the MTZ Interceptor. The DM56 saw a max damage reduction to 41, down from 50. The minimum damage was reduced to 37, down from 39. The KVD Enforcer saw a headshot multiplier reduction to 1.8, down from 2.2, and the MTZ Interceptor saw a headshot multiplier reduction to 1.5, down from 2. So only the headshot multiplier, that of course is a big factor here and why that was powerful, but if it's something that will bring this down out of the definite #1 spot in the meta, we'll have to wait and see. The tier, the Akimbo, saw a max damage reduction down to 70, down from 120, so a healthy nerf there, but also still pretty powerful in that regard. Mix it in with snake shots. If you're in close quarters, you can still probably do pretty good damage with it. The Haymaker saw a max damage reduction down to 36, down from 52, and the submachine gun of the Fennec from the Modern Warfare 2 introductions saw a max damage reduction down to 22, down from 25, a headshot multiplier reduction to 1.25, and a lower torso multiplier, reducing it down to a base 1, no multiplier, which was down from 1.1 beforehand. So healthy changes to the weapons in question, a lot in the meta. But again, on paper, will they be enough to actually knock them out of the meta? The big one for me is, of course, still going to be that MTZ Interceptor, one that we're going to have to play around with, because on paper, that is a significant nerf. But again, it wasn't the whole story as to why that was so powerful and a definitive must-use weapon. So we'll see if that is something that does change away and adjust the meta from being DMR Zone 2.0, but we'll have to wait and see in time now at this point. But on paper, healthy nerfs all around. Another one here was the audio, where they said they rebalanced first-person and enemy footstep audio. Again, this is going to take a lot of testing. There is nothing that is actually definitive here with this granted in this explanation, but they did state with a sort of dev reasoning, since the launch of Season 1 last week, we've been actively listening to player feedback feedback regarding audio concerns in Warzone, especially related to footsteps. This initial update is aimed at addressing part of these concerns and enhancing the overall experience before we head into the holidays. When making changes such as this, there's a complex mix of variables we need to meticulously look at and consider. One of the primary factors to consider is the fidelity of the experience across our titles to avoid too large a gap between Warzone, multiplayer, and zombies. Beyond that, changes to things like occlusion, fall-off distances, first-person versus third-party balance, or specific perk mechanics can have ripple effects due to sheer number of interacting and overlapping sounds in Battle Royale matches. Please know that we're committed to the ongoing improvements and to ensuring that players can fully immerse themselves in the game while maintaining a competitive edge. Your continued constructive feedback is appreciated, and we'll continue to work towards making Warzone the best that it can be on every front. So that is something that, again, did not give us any sort of detail, but they are continuing to look at it, and it is going to be an ongoing process. So if it is something that, yes, this may end up helping out the audio mix a little bit, but if it doesn't get it to 100% and quite to where we need it to be, it is still going to have adjustments here going on in the future. However, as they do state, we are getting close to the holidays, so come probably middle of next week until like probably January 3rd or 4th, we're probably going to end up seeing a lack of updates here with this. So fingers crossed we get the game in a good state going into the holidays and we don't have a Caldera 2.0 where the game is truly just broken and unplayable. But fingers crossed we get it to a place where we can hold out for a week and a half, 2 weeks here while devs are on holiday. But that's the Warzone side of things here. Modern Warfare 3, in terms of general gameplay senses, saw a handful of important changes, but not as many in terms of the grand scale of those that we just talked about with weapon balancing and with sort of audio for the overall game experience. There was no specific Modern Warfare 3 weapon tuning, just as a heads up, but there were some things that are definitely interesting and definitely helpful. Firstly, progression has been updated where challenges that require enemy equipment to be destroyed will now progress upon the destruction of the following field upgrades: the ACS, Comm Scrambler, Deployable Cover, Med Box, Munitions Box, Portable Radar, Suppression Mine, Tactical Camera, Tactical Insertion, and Trophy System, which, for those of you guys that don't know, that is directly targeting the RGL here at this, which is a huge one, which I really wish would have been the case when I was doing the RGL, because yes, it was a fairly simple challenge and pretty straightforward, but it was just the matter of not finding things that we're tracking at that time, of just simply being claymores and bouncing betties or those trip mines that you ended up having. So there was a very limited amount of things that could count towards that, but this should exponentially help that grind if you are going for Interstellar, where you aren't just skipping the launchers based off the new weapons introduced. So very big help here, I think, with that. Definitely nice to see. We saw in an update yesterday, which is kind of being reiterated here as of today, we have increased TDM and kill confirm matches in playlist of 12v12, 10v10, and small maps. 12v12 is now a limit of 150, 10v10 is 125, and small maps are 125 as well. And finally, the last thing of note, I think, is the Ghost TV camo gear will now offer a stationary cooldown before that anti-radar effect is disabled. You have 2 seconds before you end up showing up on the radar after sprinting. It's now no longer one of those cases like we showed that it is just instantaneous. The moment you let off any sort of momentum here at that you'd show up on the radar. That's no longer the case. You now have a 2-second cooldown, which is definitely nice. Now, there were a couple of other smaller things here in regards to like stability and other stuff like that. Some adjustments to the Act 4 Dead Signal mission in Zombies. But beyond that, that's the update here at this, which again, it is something that is a surprise title update. We did not know about this until late last night, if you were paying attention to like PlayStation game sizes and the Twitter account that runs that. So that's something that this maybe out of the blue takes a little bit to download, but it should, in theory, help with some of your gameplay experience in Warzone and Modern Warfare 3. But that is what we're going to call it. So let me know your thoughts down below. What do you think of this update? Do you like the changes to weapons, the audio, whatever the case? Drop your thoughts. Before we wrap everything up, make sure to check out my friends over at Gamer Advantage for the best blue light glasses on the market. Right now, code Espresso gets you 35% off, which makes it a great stocking stuffer gift here if you guys want to try and pick something up for yourself or somebody you know that could end up benefiting from a pair of their glasses. I've worked with them now almost for 3 years. I will rave about them nonstop. Love these guys. So they can break down all the details, all the science and all that kind of stuff way more than I ever could. But what I can say in the almost 3 years now that I've been working with them, not a single pair has done me wrong. Love these guys to death. So if you guys want to check that out, link in the description below. And again, code Espresso and give you 35% off your entire order. But that said, that is what we're going to call it. So drop a like if you enjoyed the video or found it at all insightful. And do me a favor and subscribe if you guys want to stay up to date with all things Modern Warfare 3, Warzone, and other FPS content here on the channel. I'd love to have you in the community. But for now, thanks so much for watching. My name is Espresso. I'll see you later. Take care and peace.